Hey, Reverend Sam here. Happy Spy Wednesday. So we're going to talk about Spy Wednesday, and not like James Bond, but Spy Wednesday. So hang on. So what is Spy Wednesday? If you grew up in a liturgical church, you probably celebrated this or heard about it. I didn't grow up in a liturgical church. I grew up in a Pentecostal church. And so we didn't celebrate. We barely celebrated Holy Week, maybe Good Friday, Palm Sunday, Good Friday, Easter Sunday. But Spy Wednesday is a name given that means something very unusual. It's a bittersweet story of Easter. And when we look at the story, we see all these things that are happening. And here's kind of the rundown for that. There's Palm Sunday, Holy Monday, Holy Tuesday. We've heard of Maundy Thursday, Jesus' Last Supper, and when he was arrested in the garden. Good Friday, when Jesus was tried and crucified. And then Holy Saturday, when he was in the tomb. And then, of course, Easter Sunday. So depending on the denomination you belong to or grew up in, you probably maybe even had different names for it. But this Spy Wednesday just kind of jumped out at me because I couldn't, when I was preparing all this, I was like, well, I never heard of anything on Wednesday. So it's usually the celebration of Spy Wednesday was actually forbidden, and Christians celebrated it underground for almost 3 centuries. So the Spy Wednesday was actually celebrated centuries ago. Christians started calling it Spy Wednesday until the medieval period. So on this day, Spy Wednesday, before these events that happen, according to the story, Judas, and I have to say probably with some other disciples, were really upset. They were upset, first of all, at a woman who was anointing the feet of Jesus with expensive perfumes and her tears. And Judas, the story is that he was kind of a skinflint, rebuked her for this, arguing that perfume could have been sold to provide money for the poor. And the writer of the Gospel of John says that he didn't even say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was known as a thief, a keeper of the money bags. He used to keep himself keep for himself, he would help himself for what was put into the bag. So we can point our fingers at Judas, but I want to kind of make this point. Jesus and probably everybody else knew that Judas was a thief. And they allowed him to be one of the disciples. He followed Jesus. I tend to believe that there was something in him that Jesus reached out to and connected with. It wasn't money, because Jesus wasn't wealthy. The Gospels tell us about Judas, who started talking to the chief priests, the religious leaders. And even Jesus rebuked him for this. And it was even then that he continued to turn in Jesus. But he wanted something out of it. 30 pieces of silver. And in Luke 22, he watched and waited for an opportunity when no one was present, no crowds were there, to turn Jesus over to the religious leaders. Judas agreed to spy on Jesus. On the day that we called Maundy Thursday, Judas left the Last Supper and led a group of people to arrest Jesus. The story is that he identified who Jesus was by kissing him, and Jesus was arrested. When Jesus was arrested, and after the kiss, Jesus still called him a friend. His only response to Judas was, "Do what you have to do, my friend." And he betrayed Jesus with a kiss. I think Jesus even knew that this was it. This was the time that he, in his arrest, he would be killed. And he refused to fight back. He gave in to this moment, to this spy. Judas is important to the Easter story. By choosing to betray Jesus to the Jewish authorities, Judas helped set their plot in motion to crucify and kill Jesus. The moment where Judas agreed to betray Jesus was one of the key dramatic moments in the whole Passion story, setting the stage for this Last Supper. And the rest in the garden. Judas was a part of the whole group. He traveled with Jesus, listened to Jesus, heard his teachings. He was a part of the core group. He was there at every message. He was even given a role, authority. He was given power as a disciple. Even after Jesus rebuked Judas for his callous behavior, Judas didn't do anything to show that he was spying on Jesus. He and when Jesus announced the Last Supper, that one of the disciples would betray him, none of the other disciples even thought he was talking about Judas. In fact, they looked at each other and said, "It's not me. It was him." And they kind of questioned each other. Could it be me? You see, we look at the people around us. We look at other followers of Jesus, and maybe they don't measure up. Maybe they aren't what we consider holy enough. They don't have it all together. They don't have beautiful words.